crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto. Every day on this channel, we teach you, yes, you, how to make money with digital assets. Smash the like as you come in, because we got a very special Friday episode. We got to talk about alt season. We got to talk about Solana ETFs. We got to talk about Charles Hoskinson at Google headquarters. What's going on with that? And we're going to talk about the Paul Atkins clip breaking from this morning, scantly 30 minutes ago. And I'm joined here by TJ on this wonderful, wonderful Friday. It is August 15th. 2025, TJ.
Feeling good. 54 year anniversary of what got us all here to begin with in a lot of ways. Leaving the gold standard. We might mention that a little bit later. I'm feeling great. Aerodrome, once again, one of our top picks, pumping, leading the, I'm not a crook. Leading the charge today. Feels good. Revenue's up. Everybody's in a great mood. Everybody's on edge with what's going on in Alaska right now. And that's probably why the markets are a little volatile, swinging back and forth. But plenty of macro bullish indicators, flashing signs that we've got plenty of time left. So yeah, happy to be here, and missed you guys yesterday, but welcome back. Smash the likes.
Yeah, TJ's referring to, there is a high levels meeting, the highest level meeting that we've probably seen in regards to the Ukraine-Russia situation. Got to be careful with the words that I'm saying here, but Donald Trump is aboard Air Force One as of 2 hours ago, flying towards, I don't know if it's Juneau or what part of Alaska. Anchorage, going to Anchorage, Alaska to meet Vladimir. And my prediction, Donald Trump's going to walk away and say, I got a deal. What do you think about that prediction there?
Yeah. I think, he mentioned it a little bit yesterday. Basically said either it's going to be very short and it won't go well, or we'll get something worked out. I'm hoping they come out. I think they can hopefully get some peace stuff organized. I will say, we were talking about it with Drew this morning. A lot of the military positioning is at an all-time high as far as borders go, as people stacked up ready to, it's a true standoff. But I think I'm hoping, for everybody's sake, not just our bags, but everybody, all the lives that are involved, that
we want world peace.
Yeah,
we want world peace. Anything other than that is kind of sociopathic at the end of the day. But speaking of sociopaths, let's talk about the SEC. This guy is good, though. SEC Chair Paul Atkins says, we are mobilizing to make America the crypto capital of the world. We're going to play this short clip, about a minute, and then we're going to jump into the charts. We're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at your altcoins. Let's go ahead and see what Paul Atkins had to say on Fox News this morning.
So a couple of weeks ago, the administration issued the President's Working Group's report on digital assets in the United States, and there were clear directions to the SEC. We're part of the PWG, that President's Working Group, and clear recommendations for us to go forward and help make what the president has announced, his intention to make America the crypto capital of the world and have the world run on American technology.
There you go. That is the $1 million statement right there. Make America the crypto capital of the world, and have other countries that interact with crypto operate on the American standard, is what he's essentially talking about. And by American standard, me and TJ's dad were actually talking about this about a week or two ago. NIST. We're going to hear a lot more about NIST in the coming months, in the coming weeks. You're hearing it from DZ first. It is the National Institute of Science and Technology, and it is a framework that is working heavily with Chainlink, working heavily with a couple L1s, and working heavily with the White House Crypto Task Force to modernize and basically institutionalize what crypto looks like in America. We'll talk about the other altcoins that might affect, TJ.
Yeah, there was also Chainlink I saw, we'll get to a little bit later, but doing some interesting stuff with Swift. But we do have this
I got some Chainlink alpha to share with the people.
Super chat here from Dirty5141. Stupid to take initials in Arrow. Now you're up 250%.
I mean, it's a 3.5x. Yeah, taking away a 1 out of that 3.5x, you're still looking pretty good there.
Yeah, taking your initials out and maybe taking another shot with it. That's absolutely, if that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. A lot of people, you put your money in, you get in good profit, you get your initials out, you let the rest ride, and you get it into something else. That's a very good strategy. I do think airdrome will be going up a lot more. Drew was actually just working on a video on that the other day. I think they're really just getting started. Volume spiking, revenue spiking, and Coinbase trying to build an everything app with the base app. I do think there's tons of upside left, but if you want to be able to take other shots with other stuff, roll with it.
Well, speaking of spiking, Bitcoin spiking like a football dead to the ground, more like. Look at the 5-minute chart here. The 5-minute candles on Bitcoin is, wait a minute. I haven't shared my screen, TJ. I am such a, I almost want to say a bass fecal matter. But here we go. We're going to go ahead and add the stage. This is Bitcoin on the 5-minute candles. You can see putting in a pretty severe low, putting in a pretty severe drawdown in a short amount of time. Within an hour and 45 minutes, Bitcoin had bled $1,500. But when we zoom out, you'll see a little bit of hope. Let's go ahead and see. Okay, we are higher than yesterday's lows. So this is yesterday on the 14th. You can see Bitcoin, nice fresh dumps, started to recover, started put in some higher lows, and now things are starting to bleed to the downside. Prediction of where we're heading from here. For that, I would probably go to the 30-minute candle. And we want to see a little bit stronger RSI. We want to see a little bit more strength in the RSI here. We might go a little bit lower. I would not say we are out of the woods yet. In regards to this yellow line, this is essentially just looking at the Ben Cowan prediction, which we're going to put out a video tonight on how things pump in July and August and how there's a September pullback and what that might mean. And is that going to still be valid this cycle? Now, before we get into the rest of the alts, do want to show you a quick chart here on Cardano. Congrats everybody who watched last night's video. We drew out this parallel channel, just kind of looking, a couple different ways you can look at this. One, we got a breakout. But TJ, when you zoom into the 1 hour, look how beautifully that played out. And of course, we're just kind of using the daily candle peaks to make up our parallel range. And when you zoom in into the 1 hour, textbook bounce there. So Cardano showing a little bit of strength. But when you look at the relative strength index, showing a little bit of weakness. So we might come down, do a retest. And we're going to go ahead and draw down one of the DZ predictions here. Strong bounce. I don't think we burst through. I don't think it's a fake out bounce. I think it'll look more like this. Maybe some wicks. That's going to be about the extent of it. Last altcoin, AVAX ETH. AVAX on the ETH chart here has not turned around yet. I am predicting a turnaround. No one knows if it's today, tomorrow, 2 days from now. But we're 100% seeing a lot of strength. And if you're down on some AVAX tokens or maybe AVAX ecosystem plays, maybe you bought some black hole, I do think things are going to turn around. But the first thing in the Avalanche ecosystem that needs to turn around is Avalanche priced in ETH. So we're not going to get an AVAX pump until you see this turnaround, and your AVAX ecosystem plays are not going to do well until you see that turnaround.
Yeah, and we, like you said, we need to see some of that volume flowing into that ecosystem as well. And we do, we're running a full range pool on that, which is nice because the price doesn't matter as much with obviously your overall pool position size will change, but you're earning those fees either way when you're in those full range pools. That being said, I do think it will recover pretty quickly, and I will probably be, once it does find a bottom, I probably will be scooping some more black on a spot purchase to sell later.
All right, yeah, we got a lot of people, AVAX, DeFi, AI, they're just hodling, man, and that's just hodling. I'm kind of in the same situation, just hodling, and maybe we'll put a little dry powder into the mix here. But let's look at CoinGecko. Let's look at the recent prices here. We don't have a single thing in the green in the top 10, except for Cardano squeaking out a little bit of a victory. So if you aped in on last night's video, hey, maybe you're even up a little bit compared to everybody else. Solana's down 4.3%. ETH is down 3%. We're going to talk about a Solana ETF. And even Chainlink is down despite massively bullish news, which we're going to get into later. Now, if you're looking for the big gainer, it's something I would probably stay away from. It's Hash. The biggest losers on the green days was the Hash token. It is my suspicion, and of course I don't have any proof, that on a red day, some of the best marketing you could have for a coin is deploy market makers and create a giant green candle on a red day. Then you tell your community to tell other people, oh, we have strength in the sea of red. Come on, the water's warm. The water's warm because they're pissing on you and they're trying to tell you it's raining. Do not let that happen to you. Reminds me of the Trump-Putin mix. Golden shower. No, Hillary paid for that. All right, now let's talk about some very, very impressive charts, TJ. We're looking at signs that the alt season is about to start. Before we get into whether or not that's going to happen, looking at the data, what does your gut tell you about alt season?
That it's just getting going. Is that what you mean? Yeah.
So we are going to have one. You're not
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I
oh,
think-
Bitcoin, too many, just can't happen anymore.
No. I think we are in the midst of the early stages of it, like we covered earlier in the week, of that phase where Ethereum outperforms and the base ecosystem, which is in Ethereum. A lot of the Ethereum ecosystem players are doing well. Like we saw Cardano being up yesterday. A lot of the top 10 coins are really starting to hit their rally point. So no, I think we are in the early stages of altcoin season, and it's going to continue into rate cuts in September. Really, the true action, in my opinion, starts after rate cuts. That's when it starts to get fun.
And we do have slightly lower odds. We're going to get rate cuts in September. So maybe it's going to be delayed an extra month or so. Remember, there's usually a drawdown through the month of September. So maybe it's going to be the October rate cuts. You're hearing the prediction here. Now, this is one of the most impressive charts, according to Altcoin Gordon here. This is total crypto market cap. Wrong. This is actually total 3. So I don't know why he said it's the total chart. You can see clearly up here, crypto total market cap, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so if you want to find that on TradingView, you got to type in total 3. So a little bit of a, minus 5 points for Gryffindor here. But this is a multi-year cup and handle pattern that is formed to perfection. When this breaks, which will be very soon, you'll make so much money, you won't know what to do with it. Think of the recent pumps we've had. They will feel like nothing. And I do agree with the sentiment. The pumps we've seen are not the best pumps. The best pumps are the ones right before the music stops playing. And I think I think we still got a few songs left in that jukebox. You're stuck at Waffle House. You're wondering why they're playing Britney Spears. Well, guess what? There's another NSYNC song, and then there's a Backstreet Boys song coming. I think we have a few songs left in this jukebox, personally speaking.
Yeah, generally the insane rally is usually like a 2-week window or something like that.
Yeah, and we've looked at the charts kind of, pointing to that fact. Now, this is the chart he's talking about. Total 3, like I said, if you want to find it, you type in total 3. Textbook cup and handle, followed by a handle breakout. And right now we are just flirting with some of these really just attractive levels, getting ready for a breakout. So once this breaks out, maybe it'll look similar to this one. When I show you this on, the regular chart, you can see we went from 375, 400 billion. We'll round up and say this first cycle, the kind of starting at 2018, ending at 2021. The cup ended at 400 billion. Within weeks and months, it would then shoot up to 1 trillion. So very, very high return. I don't know if we'll get a 2.5x from the cup handle or from the neckline here, but I think we'll be pretty happy with the 2x, with the 3x there. So Bitcoin, Ethereum is going to have the lion's share of crypto's market share. That isn't the only alt season indicator, though. We also have this one, which is the Bitcoin dominance. I've seen you guys posting about Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance just printed its first monthly MACD bearish crossover in 4 years. We're talking about monthly candles, very large time frame candles here. Moving average, convergence, divergence. Last time this hit, alts didn't go up. Like TJ said, they went vertical. And they went vertical for about 4 months. Like he said, a couple week periods where it was just totally insane. Large caps did 10x. Mid-low caps ripped 20 to 50x. The signal's here. The runway's clear. If you're still at the gate, that is on you. This is the chart. Pulled it up. You can see it pretty cleanly right here. We have a bearish crossover for Bitcoin dominance, which is bullish for your altcoins. Warning, warning. No one's talking about this. Warning. There was 2 bearish crossovers. We did a bearish crossover right here. Bitcoin dominance started to fall, and this is DeFi summer, TJ. This is that June, July. Chainlink's pumping. Polygon's being discovered. Cardano starts breaking out from 2 pennies. Bitcoin dominance fell a little bit, but guess what? Bitcoin said, I'm the king. King Kong is running this. Pumped again. Bullish crossover on the monthly chart. And then we got a second monthly bearish crossover, just measuring this in time. That was, wow, was that 7 months later? 6 months later. 6 months later. What would a 6 month later alt season look like? So that would, we're going to bleed. We're going to have a, very, very bearish September, I suppose, for altcoins. Bitcoin comes back to the top of this range. And then 6 months later, I mean, we're talking about that Q1, the end of Q1 2026. Then maybe alt season starts. What do you think? Is this going to look like one bearish crossover? We're going to have alt season soon, or are we going to be on a 6-month delay, TJ?
Yeah, that's the million or $billion question, depending on who you are. Is are we going to see things top out in Q4 of this year? Do we extend into Q1 next year? If I had to make a decision right now today, I'm leaning towards extended cycle, which, this time is different type of scenario, which I realize is kind of going out there on a limb. It's much easier to look backwards and use the data, say, well, this is what the data has said. And I want to make that clear. Data from the past, generally speaking, when it comes to 4-year cycles, November-ish should be the top for all, Bitcoin tops in October, altcoins top in November. We've been talking about that since 2022. We've been telling you guys load up, and we all should be well into the profit by now because we've been accumulating that whole time. That being said, I think rate cuts, I think we're gonna see at least 2 at the end of this year. I think definitely 1 in September, and then one other one at least, if not all 3, but one of those could be in December. So if we see a rate cut in December, and then we could continue to see spending bills coming out next year. They've already got 3 on the books. That's what has my attention. This chart, there's a lot of other things. There's like 30 top indicators that none of them are even close to hitting right now. So there's a lot that makes a very strong case for at least Q1 of next year, and if not even longer. So if I had to make a decision today, I would say I'm probably holding my altcoins through the end of this year into next year, or at least I might take half profits, or I'll have to look and see. Like if altcoins start going full send in Q4 and we start to get that parabolic blow off top, that 2-week window, then I probably will sell most of them. But if they're still just kind of churning up, I'm probably holding them into Q1. And I'll throw another caveat in there. I think this alt season is going to be somewhat different than altcoin seasons we've seen in the past. I think we're going to see some of the most robust, well-designed, revenue-generating altcoins outperform some of the other ones. Where when it's true risk on, everything's sending. But I think we're getting into the part of a cycle now where Chainlink, Aave, Arrow, Hyperliquid, some of these things, Pump Fund even, some of these ones that are generating revenue and they're actually sustainable businesses that legitimate investors can wrap their heads around. Things that are, Ethereum, it's tokenizing the entire stock market. RWA projects, Plume is just now really getting going, and Ondo. I think we're going to see those outperform, while other meme coins, for example, or higher risk, less, more flash in the pan type projects actually fall back down. So there's a lot to consider going into this alt season. I do believe we're going to continue to see it go up into at least Q1 of 2026, if not even longer. But that's why we have to keep assessing this data as it comes in, and we will be making those decisions. I update every time I make a move in my portfolio. I update it within our Discord community. So if you guys aren't in there yet, the link is in the description and in the chat. Go ahead and join in there. Also, there's a lot of free trades. If you just want free trading calls, there's a lot of those going on. Everybody's interacting with each other, helping each other, making sure we all win together. But when that time comes that I'm going to, I've got a lot of altcoins. I'm not nearly as much altcoins as I have Bitcoin, but when the time comes, I will absolutely let you guys know if I'm fully moving out of the altcoins and rolling them back into Bitcoins.
And that leads to this question. You guys selling all your alts this cycle, or this projects you're going to hold through the cycle? I'd be selling the majority of my altcoins, but probably keeping some 20 to 30-ish percentage positions. And I'll probably have those in like DeFi, earning additional altcoins, earning additional yield. We have someone else saying Bitcoin will go below 40K. Bitcoin's going to the 30,000s after a few years due to Bitcoin price inflation. I don't know what you mean by the price inflation. You mean the tokens inflating from 19.7 million to 21 million? That's not too much of a inflation there.
Yeah, it won't.
Oh, too much money is bad for society. I mean, ask that to the Weimar Republic, people trying to buy a loaf of bread with a wheelbarrow full of paper cash.
Yeah, this doesn't even really make any sense. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Sorry, dude. Like, glad you're here. Hope you start absorbing some information. But I read that and I can quickly know that you have no understanding of Bitcoin.
It does disinflate. It is inflating, but I think the price is going to be separate from everything you might realize. Just look at some of the hyperinflation societies and what a stick of gum would cost.
Yeah, look at
they'll charge $1 trillion for something.
There is, like you said, there is more tokens coming out, but not nearly as many as the dollar.
I mean, look at 1920s Germany to fully understand inflation. All right, let's talk about Coinbase here. Coinbase talking about alt season and some winners. in the Ethereum ecosystem. Coinbase is picking winners, and it's not just, oh, the top DeFi play on Base, which is Aerodrome, which is a winner. But they have some different winners. Coinbase says full-scale alt season may just be ahead. Now, there could soon be a shift towards cryptocurrencies outside of Bitcoin. That's what we mean by alt season. We think current market conditions now suggest a potential shift towards a full-scale altcoin season as we approach September. This is from David Duong, and they wrote this in their monthly Outlook report on Thursday. We're going to dive into the report. We're going to look at what they're talking about here. And so going straight to it, a common definition for altcoin season, this is their classification. At least 75% of the top 50 altcoins outperformed Bitcoin over the previous 3 months. Here are their chosen winners. Went through the whole thing. You're not going to see anything. They do mention Athena, Lido in separate locations, but they talk about it right there on the top. So let's just go to the top here. This is maybe some winners according to Coinbase. Tokens like Arbitrum, Athena, Lido, and Optimism all trade at a higher beta to daily ETH returns. Although only Lido has benefited from the recent ETH rally, suggesting the other tokens have yet to benefit from the ETH rally. So maybe Arbitrum, Athena, and Optimism would be really good tokens over the next 30 to 60 days.
Didn't Arbitrum have a massive pump like last week?
Yeah, Arb. So this report, with the big corporate client like this was published August 14th. So this was published yesterday, but it was probably written, 48 hours ago.
Oops, I hit the.
Go to ARB. Let's see here. 7 day.
Yeah, I got it.
So it pumped on the 13th. So the report released on the 14th was probably written on the 10th, 11th, or 12th.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the ARB, maybe TJ, we maybe just stumbled upon something. I'm Batman, okay? World's greatest detective. Do you think someone front ran the article and bought a bunch of ARB?
Could have. Absolutely could have. I mean, if you look at the all, like there's still plenty of room left on Arbitrum if you look at the everything. So, I mean, obviously, if you look at it in the last month, that looks great. If you look at the all, it still has a way to go, even to get back up to where it was in January 2024. So, Arbitrum absolutely could rip. It's definitely gets used a lot. I haven't had a lot of success with ETH layer 2s, like I have with base ecosystem plays, but a token that gives you governance on a layer 2, there's just a lot of nuances with the way that they're rolling out. Do they make an L1? Do they compete?
Well, it's like investing in real estate on a lake, and there's 5 houses on this lakefront, and you're like, man, I'm gonna buy one of these lakefront properties, and it's gonna do so well. And then 6 months later, there's 10 lakefront properties, and you're like, oh, well, okay. You go forward a year, there's 37 lakefront properties, and you're like, I thought I had something scarce here.
Right.
That's what holding an L2 on ETH feels like.
Yeah, and this was an interesting thing here. I like watching this. This is just Coin Market Cap's altcoin season. If you're just on the basic Coin Market Cap, they've got it right here at the top, this altcoin index. If you click it, well, now I lost, it'll take you to this. Man, I'm slow today. Like I take one day off and I hit every wrong button. Hold on. There you go.
You had to remap everything, folks. Inside joke there.
That was a good one. But you can see here, look, it clearly started to have a divergence in July, but it really started to happen here in the beginning of August.
Yeah, second divergence.
And so now we're up here where we've got 41 of the top 100 coins outperforming Bitcoin. And I think this is a pretty good little indicator of this. Now we are truly in alt season. Now you'll need to see full-blown alt season will come soon, but this is a fun thing to look at here, and you can come down and look at these. Here's Bitcoin, and all of these projects here have been outperforming Bitcoin. So if you don't think that's alt season, this is what alt season looks like.
I like how we trash L2s, the number one gainer. Mantle.
Yeah, number L2. One gainer. Yeah, L2.
It's a rotating chairs game with those L2s. I think there's giant ETH ICO whales, these giant insiders, and they're playing whale games, and there's a lot of token emissions. There's basically these investors getting a lot of tokens, and they're playing games with your portfolio and playing games with your bottom line. And the bottom line is DZ don't like it. Now, TJ, quick aside here. I watched a classic movie last night. It was a favorite of my wife's when she was a kid.
Okay.
Rat Race.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about
never seen Rat Race.
We were talking about that in Vegas for the Bitcoin conference, but I couldn't believe you'd never seen it. That is definitely a classic. So what's your take?
Rowan, Mr. Bean's character, Rowan, he does great. Mr. Bean is always kind of going to be Mr. Bean, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing in small amounts. And John Lovett's character, a lot of interesting, funny things there going on with his family, walking into a alt-right type situation and how that played out with the bikers. So I give it it was a good, fun movie. I was wondering why I never watched it. I looked at the release date, August 17th, 2001.
Wow.
3 weeks before 9/11.
Wow.
Not a good time to release a movie, probably.
No, that one. I haven't seen that one in a long time. I'd like to rewatch that one. So.
Yeah, it was a good movie. All right, let's get back to crypto here. Just wanted to kind of share that with everybody since we're bringing it up in Vegas. 3.4% of the Bitcoin total supply has been bought by these treasury companies. But for ETH, huge buy pressure from the treasury companies just recently started. We've talked about that. Like, the majority of the ETH inflows was like in a 6-week period compared to the 60 weeks ahead of that. So interesting theory here. TradFi is going to be our exit liquidity this cycle. Now, I love the thought, but the sentiment is like, wow, is traditional finance going to get beat by retail? I don't know. That one just seems a little bit tough here. Now, let's talk about Scott Bessent. This is we talked about it yesterday, but he flip-flopped. So we talked about his early remarks yesterday where, we're not going to buy Bitcoin. So he began Thursday by dashing the hopes of some Bitcoiners saying the strategic Bitcoin reserve would be made up of the 15 to 20 billion already held, but no intention of making fresh purchases. We're going to drop a video on this tonight. I do a little bit more of a deep dive. He ended the day contradicting the remarks, saying, no, we're committed to exploring budget-neutral pathways to acquire more Bitcoin to expand the reserve. So let's just get into what probably the more popular ones are going to be. We're already doing this. Seize Bitcoin from criminal forfeitures. They've rejected this one.
Yeah, they basically said they're not doing that.
We're not going to do number 2. So that leads us to number 3. Using basically very complicated accounting rules, the ESF is Exchange Stabilization Fund. They have $40 billion in surplus funds that can be used without Elizabeth Warren's permission. And that's really what we need. Analysts, including ones from Bitcoin Policy, say you could purchase Bitcoin-denominated debt instruments, which would then be repaid in Bitcoin upon maturity. And then essentially we can maintain the budget neutrality, and we're going to need some legal reinterpretation here. But it already works for gold. So if it works for gold and it works for foreign currencies, why wouldn't it work for Bitcoin? So there could be some very complicated paths. Lawyers are going to argue about this. Accountants are going to fight about this. And I'm sure there's people within this Treasury department that control the 40 billion. They're probably tight with that money. They probably want to invest in maybe their cronies, their friends. Probably not going to want to put it into the orange coin that we all know and love. But that's what we want. That's what the people want. And that's what America needs if it's going to survive, because it does look like we're going to lose reserve currency status to Bitcoin. So might as well position ourselves as the largest holder of Bitcoin. America.
Yeah. Well, and then there's also excess energy they could use. And there's other things there's definitely other paths. I never expected them to revalue gold. I do think he misspoke a little bit yesterday with his phrasing. Then people kind of ran with the headline context of like, we're not going to buy it. And it's like, well, we want to accumulate it, but I don't think they've ever said they were going to come out and straight up buy it. There's also, the fact that he did talk about confiscation being one of their main methods. It for me gives me a little pause of how much I'm going to hold on.
Yeah, think of Stalin's secret police, the head of his secret police. Show me the man, I'll find you the crime.
Right. Well, and
he has a lot of Bitcoin. Let's figure something out. He jaywalked.
Yeah. What I was going to say was the holding it on any government influenced exchange or platform or property. We could. Today is the 54-year anniversary of the Nixon shock. We could see another shock like that where they say, you know what, U.S. citizens are no longer allowed to individually custody their own coins. Matter of national security. Everybody's going to get paid out 1-for-1 match. But now all the Bitcoin that Coinbase holds is now property of the U.S. government.
Not to dash your hopes. Do you know who would say that does not matter at all?
Who?
Jimmy Zong.
Well, what do you mean? Oh, I mean, yeah, they could still come get it from your house.
They took it out as popcorn tin motherboard.
Right. If they, well, and yeah,
And
if they
said,
want
yeah,
it
you don't
bad
have
enough,
to
they can-
tell us the seed, but you know, you're going to spend the rest of your life in solitary confinement.
That's true.
All right. Here you go. Here's the private keys.
But you at least don't want to make it easy for them. And
Yeah,
if,
you don't want to make it easy.
And
You don't want to
that's-
make it where they just like hit a 1 and a 0 and hit enter, and then boom, you're wiped out completely.
that was another thing that somebody had an interesting take yesterday was, they said, oh, read between the lines. They're saying they're going to nationalize MicroStrategy, or strategy at this point, which again, some of those things is not, there's a non-zero chance that some of those things happen. This guy says it won't happen. I understand why you feel that way, but it did happen with gold previously in our nation's history. So I don't think it's likely, but there's a non-zero chance.
There's a non-zero chance, and I would say that's the best way to talk about it. All right, now you want to talk about the dream of America being dead?
Sure.
There's a couple metrics which you don't want to see in societies. One of them is the diaper metric. When you have more adult diapers than kid diapers, it tends to not do well for your forward-looking demographics.
Sure.
You don't have enough young people entering the workforce. You have too many retirees that have stopped working. And at the end of the day, you don't even have enough people to be nurses for all these elderly. This is another one of those types of metrics you don't want to see. Now we're talking about home buying. There are now more home buyers over the age of 70 than under 35 per Fortune. And if you recall, U.S. actually has a declining lifespan. We're like one of the few countries that's developed that, we're actually losing. We're dying sooner and sooner because we're becoming more unhealthy. So there's really not that many people above the age of 70. And so seeing that people above the age of 70 buying more homes than under 35, not under 30, under 35, maybe not a good sign. Where do you see this heading?
Oh, it's not heading into, I mean, I'm trying to find, I put it in our Discord like a few weeks ago. I guess I can't, it's too far back. I posted in there too much, but there was also a graph that adult children living with their parents is hit a number we haven't seen since Great Depression, since the Great Depression fallout in the late 1930s, early 1940s. It's at an all-time high right now. So I think it's a result of the broken money and the bad money supply, and real estate's going to continue to go up and up and up. And I think really what we're going to see is a further separation of the classes. It's going to be either you're a homeowner or you're not. Either you own property or you don't. If you don't, you're going to be stuck in that renting forever cycle. Like the World Economic Forum said years ago, you will own nothing and be happy. That is their goal. That is the direction we're heading. I like to own things and be happy. I don't want to rent from the world elites for the rest of my life. So I'm glad I own my own home. I'm glad I own Bitcoin. But if you haven't jumped that gap and it's getting harder and harder to do, I think that window closes over the next 5 to 10 years, and it's going to be very, very difficult.
All right, talk about midnight claims. Some of these wallets are not allowing the claims because within the wallet, you need to be able to have message signing. So we need Vogel support to push them to implement this dusting for Glacier. This is news. I would agree. This is news. So big shout out. I have this screen right here. Midnight Network. We've done videos on this. If you have just regular type of a hot wallet, you could probably look at it, but cold storage, it depends. It's hit or miss, folks. So look, their messages are open. If you operate a wallet or you operate some sort of storage solution for people holding their crypto, work with the people, okay? Someone's getting this airdrop. Make sure the people get it. Make sure the customers get it. Do not steal their night token. If you do want to learn more about the night token, we got a lot of videos on that, right? How long ago did we do it?
4 weeks. I don't know. We've been doing a lot of videos. You're on lives.
Oh, I'm on lives. I don't even know what I'm talking about here, folks. Must have altcoins, ADA on top, retire early. Get in now. 8 days ago, midnight, massive airdrop. This changes crypto. So make sure you get in there, folks. Wallet providers. You guys got to step it up. You got to help these people out. Now let's talk about major Bitcoin and Google news. 2017, this would create a 12% pump. 2025, it's a nothing burger, and it's like the 10th story of the day.
Yeah, 2025, we're dumping.
It's a red day. Yeah,
it's a red day.
It's bearish. Google has now acquired 8% stake in a Bitcoin miner, TeraWulf.
Yeah, they've been around.
But we're not talking about a small amount. We're talking about a $3.7 billion purchase here. So what are the details, and why the heck is Google buying this? And so this is why they want to have all their workers find Bitcoin like a prospect miner in the 1930s. So Bitcoin mining company TeraWulf has become the latest crypto firm. Oh, they're diversifying into AI. So the latest press release, TeraWulf announced 10-year co-location agreement with a Google-backed firm, FluidStack, which is doing some of their AI cloud platforming. And so Google has a lot of investments in the cloud space. It's not just all roads lead to Google Cloud, but essentially, if you scroll up, all roads are leading to Google here. So this partnership is a $3.7 billion deal, and TeraWulf, with their Bitcoin mining equipment that they're shifting gears to kind of help with the AI infrastructure, they're going to give 200 megawatts critical IT load for the AI company. That, again, is a Google subsidiary. And so major news. Now, this is, I would definitely say it's a good step in Google acquiring Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow, though.
This is also why we like KTA, or part of why we like KTA. Kita, one of the co-founders, is the primary funder. Co-founder of Google's primary funder. Also,
Sergey Brin.
I'd have to. No, I don't think it.
No, Eric.
It's the
Schmidt,
other guy. I'd have to pull it up. But
ex-CEO, I think.
Where we've got CJ. Where can I find that BTC clock behind the bald man?
Hey, man. There's
He's
like
got some
17 hairs.
Yeah.
Okay, I got like 8.5 more than Homer Simpson.
Yeah, but the link is in the description, guys. It's called Crypto Ticker. We've got a link to it in every description of every video because you guys kept asking. So
nothing says buy like everybody in the chat saying it's over.
Facts.
100% facts.
Well, and so as weird as this sounds, that's part of why I'm leaning towards an extended cycle this time. Is I've never seen more consensus from everybody out there that they're selling everything in Q4. And I think one of the main mistakes people are going to make is selling too early in the cycle. Retail can't wait to take profits, which, again, not telling you not to take profits, but just know what you're going to do with them. That's if you're taking profits because you think you're going to buy back lower soon, you just better have a lot of conviction in that, because most people don't actually get to buy back lower. If you're taking profits to, buy something, to change something in your life, to upgrade, to buy a property, to buy a car, to buy another asset, make another investment, whatever it is, that makes a lot of sense. But if you're just trying to play the trading game, I'd say be very careful.
It is a lot more difficult to buy Bitcoin cheaper versus a Solana, a Cardano, and Ethereum.
Altcoins, I still think altcoins are going to have massive correction. It's just a matter of when.
100%. All right, let's look here. The next story. We got some awesome stuff. That is a local story. Emory College. Did you see this? Emory University.
Mm-mm.
This is a Atlanta-based university. $11 billion endowment. They got a lot of dry powder on the sidelines. They just bought $25 million worth of Bitcoin yesterday. Institutional money is moving off the sideline. Have you ever visited Emory or know anyone that went to Emory?
Yeah, I know people. My ex-father-in-law actually went to Emory, and there's I've known several people that went to Emory, and it's a great school. What was I going to say? Oh, these endowment funds. We covered just recently Harvard's endowment fund buying some Bitcoin. The fact that we've seen this shift just shows that there's a change in perception across, again, the wealthiest people in the world, the elites, and we're going to see a lot of endowment funds be adding Bitcoin. This is probably through IBIT, if I had to guess, just like Harvard's was. They bought IBIT ETF. We're going to see that continue to grow and continue to grow. And this is another reason that there could be an extended cycle. Again, Adam Back talking about Q4 2027 potentially being the top. And the extended buying through these vehicles now is something that has not existed in the market in previous 4-year cycles. So
we know that all roads lead to Bitcoin. Larry Fink and BlackRock, they're trying to put a toll house in that road. We're teaching you how to take the side streets. Other people, that's fine if they use the toll road, but as long as they end up in the right place here. Navarro here. Dave Navarro from the basis. I have 5K to deploy right now with some good alts to put in at these prices. Still think it's a fairly good time to buy Arrow and Chainlink, which even though they have had a good pump, but the Coinbase report probably also has some good alpha. Arbitrum is pumped, but we haven't seen the same for OP, Optimism, quite as much. So maybe there's a little bit of play with Optimism. Looking at CoinGecko, I would say strong players that haven't done that well in the last 30 days. And so I'm looking, be safe, but if you're like total risk on, I'm not going to lie when I say the Pepe chart, I think looks pretty good. Now, this is a little live TA, so, maybe it's not going to be quite as bullish. No, that's pretty bullish. That's pretty bullish. We are pretty far down compared to where it was. We're at a pretty good trend line right here. I mean, it could go a little bit lower. I think this is a fairly strong support, and if it were to hit the previous all-time high, it's 150% pump. Now, there's safer plays, definitely. I'm not saying Say might be a good one, and I have a thesis on why Say might be a good one. We'll get into that in a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Aave, I think, is also a good one. What do you got, TJ?
No, I like you. Chainlink, Aave, I think are the safe, solid ones. I mean, there's chat. I do agree with Steve here. Plume is one I just bought. Black is.
I think Black is a great buy right now.
Virtuals is down. Could pump again.
Let me check.
A lot of people in the chat saying Avalanche, which I think is a solid project.
Yeah, we looked at that at AVAX ETH chart. That thing is poised to reverse at some point. Now let me just check on Black.
Oh, it's down. It's definitely down.
It's down. But let me see if it's still strong.
Yeah.
So one of the ways we're going to do that, we're going to go to DeFiLlama.com. We're going to click on chains, and then that's going to show you all the chains. We want to see something on Avalanche, so we're going to click on Avalanche, which is the top 10 coin by TVL, total value locked. Now, this is going to show a few projects here. I like to do it by revenue. Dude, Black is still killing it.
Yeah, they're making tons of money.
188,000. They're like crushing Trader Joe's, now known as LFJ. They're crushing Aave on AVAX.
Yeah,
killing Binky.
Every metric you want to see. TVL is going up.
TVL's up.
Volume is up. Revenue is up. So
price tanked.
Yeah, the underlying value or the underlying metrics that you look at this project are all very strong. So that to me says it's probably a decent time to acquire some. So, and we're still running, like I said, we're still running our pools on there. They're printing very well. And I'm kind of waiting for it to reverse a little bit so I can feel confident that it's at the bottom. But I think Black's an easy pickup there.
Yeah, I mean, look at the fees relative to the price. They make more fees, and yet prices going down as the fees go higher. So I'm seeing some opportunity. I did deploy some funds in there. I think it might be time to go ahead and lower that average entry cost there. All right, now Bitcoin. What do we got going on this week? So we kind of covered. We talked about Scott Bessent, but here's a good little. Some I didn't notice with the drawdowns here, and maybe kind of predicting what's going to happen next. So Bitcoin has been following a pretty predictable pattern thus far. Bitcoin has 4 all-time highs in 2025. Importantly, the pullbacks have been shrinking. So after we hit 109 in January, about 7 months ago, Bitcoin would then fall 30% to 76,000. A lot of people said it's over. That was the top. Then it started pumping in April and May. And by May, it went from 76,000, new all-time high of 112. Another pullback, but this time instead of a 30% pullback, the pullback was only 12%. Then we had a new all-time high of 123 from 112. Another pullback that yet again shrunk, this time a 9% pullback. And most recently, we have a new all-time high of 124. And this time we've only seen a 7% pullback, although we're only 1 day in. So maybe something to pay attention to there. I do like the theory of diminishing declines, which kind of doesn't really help parabolic rise. You know, it's a sign of a maturing asset, but this is maybe something to pay attention to. I do think as more and more people start predicting this, that's when it will be, you know, a lot closer to 30% versus 7%. So just be very, very careful with that strategy. Like, oh, well, the next pullback, it fell 6%, so it must pump. Not necessarily, but this is the trend that we're seeing at the time. Any other super chats? No, we're good. Next story here. What do we have next? So that's kind of pointing at the pullbacks. So maybe this is what we're going to maybe see. We see $1 billion leverage flush from people basically betting a little bit too hard on crypto. So we end up getting a pretty big pullback. And just here's some takes on the pullback. The pullback is, in my view, simply a recalibration of a still otherwise bullish trend. Bitcoin remains firmly entrenched as the anchor of institutional crypto strategies. Here's another take here. After such a sharp rally, profit taking tends to set in, and we saw short-term traders liquidate their position and take gains. In addition, higher than expected inflation data, especially around consumer prices, have tempered some of the optimism. Healthy consolidation rather than a reversal. That is kind of how I'm feeling as well. I do like seeing that a lot of people are really bearish. The more bearish people are, the more likely it pulls up. But I'm starting to lean in with the bulls here. I think it's more of a healthy consolidation than a strong reversal. I don't know if we're going to like get below 100K or anything like that. Now let's talk about Link. Do we got some Link Marines in the chat? Who's the first person who's going to put in the Chainlink emoji? You are going to be the strongest Link Marine, because that meant you had it on a recent. You were like really close. You're jumping to it real quickly there. So let's talk about Chainlink here. This is just a good thread on why it's bullish. We're not going to do the whole thing. There's a couple points I did want to point out here. This is David Adderman, head of Web3 research firm M31 Ventures. Don't know much about it, but hey, he has glasses of a smart guy here. So they're looking at Chainlink here, and there's a bull thesis in terms of and logic that is saying this thing is going higher, folks. So saying it's one of the most asymmetric risk reward investments we've seen. It's the main beneficiary of a huge RWA, bring everything online megatrend here. Monopoly and on-chain middleware, basically a monopoly in being a crypto middleman, hated and misunderstood. I don't know about that. Narrative changing catalyst, 20-30x upside. Now we're talking, folks. Now we're talking. So the trillions, the 30 trillion on-chain RWAs, Chainlink's going to be a big beneficiary of that. Remember, I was talking about NIST, National Institute of Science and Technology. That is a classification system that just says everything has to follow these rules. Kind of like HTML 30 years ago for the web, or the HTTP protocol for the internet that exists even today. And so you're going to see these technology giants, they get together, they create a framework that's semi-similar, and they say, all right, this is how we're going to make every email look. This is how we're going to make every text message look. Well, now they're doing, this is how we're going to make every financial transaction on chain and off chain look. Chainlink's going to be a big part of this infrastructure build out by the NIST. Chainlink already in the infrastructure here, folks. The de facto standard for on-chain data, interoperability, and facilitating trade.
That's what the S is. It's standard, not science.
Oh, National Institute of Standards and Technology, not science and technology. I'm gonna commit seppuku now. Oh man, that was I'm totally no. That was thank you. We do have the Smart Disco fan here, and I should have looked it up. I was honestly going off
memory.
Me and your dad's conversation like 2 weeks ago. I was like, I think he said science. All right, no. So looking at the on-chain, they're the de facto standard, and they're working with SWIFT. That's basically all the banks, how they talk. DTCC, post-trade market, is a clearinghouse, a closing house. JP Morgan, one of the largest banks. Euroclear, very important for European financial services. MasterCard, sovereign pilots, and recognized in the White House Digital Asset Report. So we got all the right check boxes marked here. These aren't just tech pilots. Beachheads in the regulated tokenization workflows. Monopoly on on-chain middlemanware, essentially. And if you look at how they're just touching everything here, Chainlink is very well positioned. Now, Chainlink just made this giant announcement. They have Swift as a title sponsor of the Chainlink conference. It's called SmartCon. Equivalent of the world's GDP passes over the Swift bank messaging system every 3 days, 150 currencies, 40,000 corridors, 4 billion accounts, 200 countries and territories. Chainlink's network activity also soaring amidst whale transactions. And so we have 6,500 active Chainlink addresses, which is a 8-month high. I'll be honest, I haven't really used Link. I buy it, I set it, I forget it. This is accompanied by 4,500 whale transactions of more than $100,000, highest in 7 months. Also, social sentiment is spiking. 3 1/3 bullish comments for every bearish one. Most favorable ratio in 4 months. It indicates the Chainlink Marines, talking about you, showing their strongest bullishness since February 1st, coinciding with Link's climb to the highest or the 11th spot in crypto market caps. And over the past 48 hours, 2 million tokens have been withdrawn from cryptocurrency exchanges. So this might be one of the reasons, some of the several reasons we're very bullish on Chainlink. I think Chainlink's, $100 Chainlink. Everyone's like, well, where's it going? Where's it going? I think $100. And if all this really catches on with the strong narrative, $200 Chainlink.
Yeah, Chainlink, one of my biggest holdings outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Chainlink, I'm way deep into, and I believe everything you just said is going to happen. They also have their revenue model kicks in. I believe it's in November, or it's maybe late October, where they're actually going to start charging for a lot of this use, and then you're going to see that revenue number go off the charts. And again, I think crypto has matured enough to the point now where real people, major investors, are looking at the revenue that the chain or the application is generating when they're placing their money in there.
And Dramula was the top Link Marine. He was the first one with the Chainlink. So 10 Link for Dramula there. Send me 5 and I'll send you 10. I'm joking. Don't send crypto to anyone expecting them to double. Let's talk about Solana real quickly here. Solana ETF decision. What's going on? Delay. This is a fresh delay here. So the SEC extended review period for 3 ETFs. The ETFs were Bitwise, 21 shares, and Canary Capital. We're still waiting for BlackRock. I'll make a prediction as we get close to when this is going to be approved. that's when BlackRock they'll sneak in the back door and they'll get approved with everybody all at once, and then they'll dwarf everybody's volume and dwarf everybody's price action.
I don't think BlackRock does an ETF outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. They've more or less come out and said something like that. I do think we'll see other ETFs happen, but I don't think they'll have any level of success compared to what the Bitcoin and ETH one has. I think we'll see Treasury company. We'll probably even see Solana-based Treasury companies, and we'll see this type of stuff. Wall Street will want exposure. These vehicles will get created, but the big dogs in the room, BlackRock. It's almost like if you think about, they did gold, and I believe they did a silver ETF, but it's not like they kept going down. Oh, we're going to do copper, we're going to do aluminum, we're going to do this and that and the other. Like, they want the major players.
Yeah.
I think they stick with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and this is another reason that Bitcoin and Ethereum have been performing the way that they have. I think they stick to that, and we'll have to wait and see. But that's just my take.
Yes, Larry Fink is, Jim. Let's talk about Cardano stuff here. Cardano, Charles Hoskinson was at Google headquarters yesterday. No articles about this. No one's talking about this. Minturn, Charles posted about it. So IOHK with Midnight, CTO, took the stage at Google headquarters to reveal Halo 3. I'm still looking at what this is exactly. It's a post-quantum secure, GPU-friendly, universal proof system built on lookup lattice technology. Lattice technology. Could Halo 3 be Cardano's secret weapon? Here's Charles Hoskinson's post here. Great to present at Google on the upcoming Halo 3 project. Then you can go to the Telegram, look at more here, stuff in the Discord. I didn't quite jump in the Discord this morning. Didn't have all the time there, but something interesting here. Something interesting going on. Now, I don't know exactly what this is going to be about, but if you look at the side there, Solana, DevNet, PayPal stable, Faucet, Beta. So a lot of interesting things going on here. This might try to do a little short on this, see what else I can find out. Now, you ready to talk about NFT tokens? Not the NFTs, little bit of Pengu Alpha. And I saw someone in the chat saying, stay away from Pengu. It's all insiders. All the meme coins are all insiders, except for like maybe a few that have like hit critical mass. NFTs and their tokens, what do you notice? So Bored Ape Yacht Club, largest NFT market cap. Pudgy Penguins, second largest. Really no one comes close. 850, 750. Then it's like 150. Then you look at the coin market cap. Bored Ape Yacht Club, $500 million. Pudgy Penguins, $2 billion. And also another one that's pretty low, Sappy Seals, down to $15 million. Wreck Guy, $400 million. Maybe that's one to maybe rotate into some of these others. I'm not saying the ape token looks like it's going to turn around. This is starting to get a little bit of attention. It's at 93,000 views. Bored Ape just did this an hour ago. This is their metaverse. They're still testing it. Basically, you have NFT. You can go in there. I think it's the largest crypto metaverse as far as active users simultaneously. And if you look at the ape price, this thing is flat as a pancake.
Definition of down bad right there.
Definition of down bad. I'm still staking. Like, I got a bunch for free.
Yeah.
I immediately sold half. Sold it into ETH. Great decision. Then the other half, I started staking. I'm already back at my original stack. I've really done much. Obviously, it would have been better to sell it all for Tether at $20. Well, I didn't do that because I was trying to get an NFT. I did get that NFT. The NFT was worth $10,000, $20,000. You know what I did with it though, TJ?
Held it.
I held it and it went down. Now it's probably worth. Actually, ETH is up. I could actually look real quick, and then we're going to talk about Say. All right, so you got to hear the Say stuff. I got other deeds. I thought for sure I was going to get a Coda. Here, we can share here. Other deeds floor price is, oh my God, it's like $400. Actually, what is ETH? Yeah, it's about maybe $500.
$460.
All right, but I saw Bored Ape Yacht Clubs are like $500,000. It's because they're
the originals.
Too much stuff there. Price, I think they show fiat here.
That's 11.8.
$53,000.
Yeah, that's nothing.
It's nothing.
Dang.
A JPEG. That JPEG is $50,000. Yeah, that's nothing. That's nothing. That cartoon gorilla. It feels like nothing when it was $1 million. Were they $1 million a piece? Or
some of them probably were, depending on the rarity and stuff. But I would have thought $500,000 was kind of the.
I think they were $500,000.
You could pick them up for a couple $100K, I think.
Yeah, the mutants were $100K, and these were $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
My mutant was like 2 Bitcoin at one point. Try not to think about it. All right, now let's talk about Say here. This is DZ shifting gears on Say. I've been saying for 6 months, I don't longer. Sell your Say for Sweet. Sell your Say for Sweet. We may have found the Say Sweet bottom.
The sweet
That's
spot.
what I say. The sweet spot here. This is from Not Telling. Not Telling has a lot of good alpha for the base ecosystem. He says, don't forget Say, the biggest investor is Circle. And they disclosed in the IPO filing, their largest altcoin holding is Say. They just integrated USDC, and since launch, 160 million has been minted in 2 weeks. The growth has pushed it past HBAR, Tron, Algo, and DOT when it comes to USDC supply. Say is becoming the go-to base layer for stablecoins, but it's still under the radar. Only a matter of time for the market to react as Say adoption continues to skyrocket higher. I think it might be time to stop being as bearish on Say. Did bleed against SWE. I mean, SWE was by far the better investment if you're buying 12 months ago. Now I'm at a coin toss. Say
Well, yeah,
will
and
be
you
way
and if
better.
you look at how much, I mean, SWE's way up now, right? I mean, SWE's been on a heck of a run, and Say hasn't quite. You know, so we got SWE at a 12 point, almost 13 billion market cap. Say at a almost 2 billion market cap. So SWE's 10 times more expensive than Say, roughly, approximately. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, this looks like a little bit of a potential reversal. This is the 3-day. Yeah, this just Say just bleeding to SWE. And then I guess SWE had a little bit of a sell-off there while Say was flat. I kind of remember that. Looks like maybe we got another leg coming down here. So might be a little opportunity there. Looking at the coin prices, what does Say? It said, I think it was like around 12, so 1/12 of the price.
What are they?
Say is 30 cents. SWE is... Plus, we have the moron trade. So, yeah, you get about 12 Say for every 1 C. The moron trade is people like to buy the thing that's cheaper. So, another reason to buy Say over SWE.
Unit bias is strong. But do we want to look at TVL and stuff? You have that on? Do you want to pull up DeFi Llama and compare them real quick?
Yeah, I could do that here. Let's see. I have DeFi Llama already pulled up because we're looking at Black Hole there. Say, stablecoin market cap 271 million. And looking at, let's see here. So we can see Say ranked by TVL. So we got around 600 million or so in the TVL here. So let's go to SWE.
I think I do think SWE is, or Circle is invested in both pretty heavily, SWE and Say.
Yeah, I believe so.
I remember thinking that they were extracting a lot of the volume on chains back to SWE at one point. So.
Oh, so I wonder if it's a switch now.
Yeah, interesting.
Maybe it's time to put it back into Say there. All right. So, yeah, there's allegations that, you know, I don't want to get sued or anything here, but there were allegations of what people said. Circle would like, hey, let's add our USDC to your chain. And then it acts as like a mass extraction event. And then the people in the chain are like, wait, why did our market cap of the chain go down? They're like, oh, people were trading it into the stable coin. And then they swap that stable coin to a different chain. So they're extracting tons and tons of value. That was the allegation.
And they get paid to do it. They get paid like, oh, well, you pay us and we'll implement your chain and we'll, you know, integrate with you. And then, okay, you pay a bunch of money to get USDC on your chain. And then, you know, all the value slowly bleeds out.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden you see it on a bridge and it's all outflows. And you're like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. All right. Well, folks, that is our show for today. We're going to go into the member stream after this. I'm going to talk about Ukraine and Russia, what it might mean for Bitcoin's price moving forward. A little too spicy for the regular tube here, but a big shout out to Rumble, big shout out to X, where free speech still lives. And we do like YouTube as well. Shout out to the Google team hosting Hoskinson, buying Bitcoin mining equipment. So today, Google, you do get a pass. Folks, I hope you have a great weekend. TJ, any parting messages?
No, smash the likes on the way out. Leave us a comment for anything you want us to look into. We got some good videos coming, more Arrow price predictions later tonight, and we'll see you guys shortly. We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.